Hello there, NorthGeeks. This is the review of the Sony Ericsson Xperia X10 phone. You saw the unboxing a few days ago. We got to play with this phone for about a week now, thanks to Sony Ericsson Canada, who provided us with not only the handset but a SIM card with a data plan as well on the Rogers network, which is where the phone is available from right now. It's overall, we're quite pleased with the phone. Of the three editors at NorthGeek, only one of us already has an Android phone. That would be me, so that's why I'm doing this review, because I'm pretty familiar with Android. I'm actually using the Google Nexus One, so I'm not going to compare it, because even though they both are running the 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, you can't really compare the two phones. They're both very different. The Nexus One running Android 2.1, and this one is running 1.6 with a Sony Ericsson skin on top of it. Basically, I really only have good things to say about the phone. The hardware itself is just phenomenal. I think it beats out the Nexus One in my opinion. It's got a really nice Sony lens on it, however small but still really good quality. It's got a nice sensor inside, up to 8 megapixels. It can take 6 megapixel photos when you're going 16:9, or 8 megapixels when you're going 4:3 aspect ratio. The light on it's also really good quality. The screen's excellent. It's a bigger screen than the Nexus One, and just the overall build of the phone, it feels really good in your hand. It's still pretty thin. It doesn't feel too big, and it feels very solid as well. It feels like this thing's going to last you, a real long time and not get scratched up or anything like that. Of course, the screen gets fingerprints on it because it is a touchscreen. One thing that when we're talking about the hardware, one thing that I don't love about it is that it doesn't have a search button, a dedicated search button. On the bottom, there's 3 buttons. There's the home button in the middle, the back button on the right, and the sort of menu button on the left. Whereas on the Nexus One, you have a search, home, menu, and back button. So the search button is really nice. Even though it's a soft key on the Nexus One, I still really like that. Going around the rest of the hardware, you have your LED up here that shows if you have a message waiting. It shows when it's charging, when it's fully charged. On the top, you have a 3.5 jack for both output and input, so it could be a mic jack. That's a nice little cover for the micro USB. That's the power button, so that a long press would power the phone on and off, and a short press turns the screen on and off. On the left-hand side, you've got absolutely nothing, just a really nice line here. On the right-hand side of the phone, you have your volume up and volume down buttons, which also double as zoom buttons when you're in camera mode, and a dedicated camera key, which has a halfway and a full-way press. So it's a really nice Sony camera in here with good Sony camera software, firmware rather. And so if you hold it down halfway, it'll focus, and then you push it in, and it presses in. On the back, we've got our 8 megapixel camera and an LED light. So let's take a look. I've done a little bit of customizing on the phone. As with many Android phones, unfortunately there's a lot of glare on the screen. So it's going to be tough to pick up in the video. But right away you're presented with your home screen with Timescape. Timescape is a really, really neat feature that Sony Ericsson put in here that some love and some hate. I personally think it's really neat. So you can link up an email account, a Twitter account, and a Facebook account to it. And it basically shows you a timeline of everything going on. So Facebook status updates, Twitter updates, new email, and it would even take in there, recent photos that you've taken and show them. And then if you want to go into something, so Royal Atlantis GP has just tweeted, it'll actually open up the mobile Twitter site and show you what they've tweeted. I'm now on Wi-Fi doing this review, so the internet's fairly quick, but I can do a bit of a speed test later. Other than that, everyone here has seen Android phones, so really the only main thing to look at is Mediascape, which I think does a wonderful job of organizing and playing your media, especially compared to the stock Android, audio, rather music and video players. This does a really nice job at organizing it. I don't have anything on here, as you can see, because it's a loaner. I don't really put much on here, but you can search through your videos. You can search online for your videos. Same with photo and music. You can also link up online services. So for music, you can link up a Rogers music service, in this case called Your Music. For video, you can link up YouTube. For photos, you can link up your Picasa web albums and things like that. So that you can, when you're doing a search for an image or when you're looking at all your photos, you can also look at what's online. Let's open up a messaging app here. The keyboard on it is not my favorite keyboard. I don't like that. Another thing that I find is missing. Let's go into Compose here. Oh. Another thing that I find is missing, something that a lot of people call useless, is this little trackball. When I'm editing, or rather when I'm typing and I want to edit, between two letters, delete one letter or something like that, the trackball makes it really easy for me to get back there. On this phone, you actually do have, if you can see this, the little forward and back arrows, but it takes a little bit longer. You can't go up, you can only go left and right. So let's type something out here. Hello, this is me trying to type fast on the X10. So it says, hello, space ne.trying.to.type.fast space on the X10. So clearly I am not hitting it very well. It's not very well spaced out. So it's also not multi-touch. Now, if Sony can work out, if Sony Ericsson rather can work out an update to their skin, then maybe we can get something working with 2.1 or 2.0 where it would be multi-touch. Let me just show you here. If I try and do the same thing on this phone, let's go into messaging. Let's go new message, and all right, here we go. Hello, this is me trying to type fast on the Nexus 1. Hello, this is merging to type fast on the Nexus O space E. So it's a little better, still not perfect. I also haven't really perfected the touchscreen typing yet. I'm coming from a BlackBerry 9700, so give me a break. But it does work a little better on this because it does have multi-touch. Let's see what else is on here. Really, like I said, really high resolution screen. I'm a big fan of it. Let me discard this message. Speakers on it are really good. That's pretty much it, actually. The main drawback really is that it's running 1.6. And let's check that out right here. If we go to settings, about phone, firmware version 1.6, as you can see there. I think with updates, there's really a lot that can be done here. If I owned this phone, I would probably install something like Smart Keyboard, or maybe even what's it called? Not Swipe, because Swipe isn't out yet for Android, or not officially yet anyway, but there's another one that's kind of like Swipe. I would probably install, or Ultra Keyboard. I would install another keyboard. I don't love the keyboard on here. And ultimately, the day, or the minute rather, that an update came out to the firmware, I would definitely update it. So overall, I think it's a solid phone. Battery life is what you would expect from an Android phone, which is not superb, but there's different ways that you can manage it with Power Manager full, Process Manager full. There's a bunch of different apps out there. Set CPU you can do as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do to make your battery life better. Reception on it's great. Sound quality on it is fantastic. And overall, it really impresses me. I think that the skin that they made is really sexy looking. It makes the status bar at the top, or the notification bar at the top, a lot smaller, which gives you a lot more real estate on the screen, which is already huge. Touch sensitivity is good, and I really like it. And it's pretty lightweight, and like I said, feels really solid. So I would give this probably an 8.5 out of 10. And the only drawbacks really are the lack of search button and the firmware. So if the firmware can be updated, we're going up to a 9.25 out of 10. So that's it. That is the Sony Ericsson Xperia X10 review on NorthGeek.com. Hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to write your comments down below if you have any questions for us. Special thanks to Sony Ericsson Canada.